First of all, it's great to be here. I think every time I come along to the Arch event, I learn something. Some things I should have learned before, and some mistakes which I keep repeating. The thing I learned last night was to stay away from my chairman, who managed to keep me in the bar until 1 a.m., until they physically dismantled the bar and took it away. That was the only reason I eventually was able to get home late last night. But first of all, thank you again for being part of this wonderful event, which I think is the second year which we've run the Arch event, and will not be the last year we've run the Arch event. But my little speech today, in terms of the thoughts which I have, are really around what things were like when I was born and I grew up, and I was born analog, and now we are going digital, and we're going digital as a procurement function, we're going digital as a society, and Luxembourg as a nation is also going digital. So thinking through where we were, and I've got a couple of pictures here just to help. If we look back, some of you in the audience will remember something called a Polaroid camera. Some of the younger people in the audience will not understand what that word means at all. Some of you will know that it was Edwin Land who invented the Polaroid camera when his little girl, age 3, kept saying, "Daddy, you keep taking photographs. Why can't I see them straight away?" And he invented the Polaroid camera that became iconic in the 60s, 70s, and almost up to the 80s, and sold 150 million units through that camera. Today, all of you have your camera in your pocket. I remember the Polaroid cameras. You used to buy little cassettes of about 8 photographs you could take at a time. It used to cost a fortune. 8 photographs at a time. Last year, 85% of the photographs taken in the world were taken on mobile devices, and there were 1.3 trillion photographs taken. And you can also see how those 3 devices, which we had on there, or capabilities, the camera, the cassette, and the touch-tone phone, are now all in one mobile device in a relatively short period of time. The second area which I just wish to highlight was the advancement in technology over the last 50 years. Obviously, this year it's the 50th anniversary of the moon landings. The computer that helped the team land on the moon had 64 kilobits of memory. Right? Now, there's people in the audience who don't know what a kilobit is. They know what gigabits are, but they don't know what kilobits are. So if you were young enough, you'd know that kilobits were the things that came before gigabits. 64 kilobits is about 6 pages from the Encyclopedia Britannica. Some people will not know what the Encyclopedia Britannica is anymore, and they'll be asking questions. It's something to do with Wikipedia. So it's like Wikipedia, but just factual, yeah? So 6 pages of paper landed man on the moon. In your top-end smartphone now, you've got 256 gigabits of storage. And to make that real for you, that's the equivalent of going to the forest in Germany, cutting down 10,000 trees, turning those into sheets of paper, and that's the equivalent storage you have now, 50 years later. So it's an immense progression of technology. And I think, thinking about that mindset of the moon landings, that program cost NASA $144 billion to put people on the moon. Elon Musk is saying that he wants to do a Mars mission, and it's only going to cost $200,000 per person to get there. I'm not quite sure you get back. I think it's a one-way ticket. I'm not sure if the return ticket will be more expensive or less expensive. But just think about the change that that's driving. And when we put this slide together, we started putting this slide together a while ago, that capsule had not flown. And it has now flown to the International Space Station and returned safely to Earth. So it's not a pipe dream, it's real. And I think one of the real similarities between the 1960s and 2019 is there is tremendous optimism around the art of the possible. And you've seen a number of companies up presenting to you over the last day which have created brand new businesses and brand new business models in a really exciting world where anything is possible. And that was exactly the same in the 1960s, where of course we're going to go to the moon. And now Elon Musk is saying, of course we're going to go to Mars. Might not get back, but we're definitely going. So that real optimism, I think, is a fantastic place to be for all of us who work in technology companies throughout the world. And it's a fantastic place for Luxembourg to be, as it creates a central technology hub based here right in the center of Europe. So if I can move on a little bit around supply chain and supply chain management. Now, supply chain management isn't quite as old as Vodafone. Vodafone is 34 years young, I think it is. We made our first mobile phone call on the 1st of January, 1985, to get my maths correct. And at that time, our global headquarters was above, I think, a small Indian restaurant in Newbury. Yeah? And then we made various acquisitions, the biggest acquisition in the world, which you'll know about, which was Mannesmann D2. And we have grown by having great people and great support from our partners to being one of the biggest mobile companies in the world with over 500 million mobile customers. And as we create the new future in Europe, we'll become, hopefully, the European Commission approving, the biggest broadband company in Europe, the second biggest TV company in Europe with 22 million subscribers and nearly 100 million homes passed. This deal for us is transformative. But the supply chain transformation itself has continued strongly. Supply chain management wasn't set up 34 years ago in Vodafone. It was set up something like 15 years ago. And now we are on the next phase of our transformation, which is digitizing how we run our function. And if you walk the 500 meters here to our supply chain management headquarters, the Vodafone Procurement Company for Vodafone, you will see a real appetite around digitizing everything we do. This picture which we have behind me is of the supply chain management. I think it's called the control center. And if you are that way inclined, you can watch purchase orders one by one going through our system from New Zealand through to the Vodafone Procurement Company and out to our partners. Everything almost real-time analytics. And the reason we're doing that is to improve our internal user experience, because we know to be digitally external, we've got to be digitally fantastic internally as well. And that's everything from how people place purchase orders, how we optimize the POs that go through our system, and there's around about 830,000 of those every year. And we have analytics now that can tell us how long every single individual manager takes to do the purchase order approval. You know? And if they take 1 second, does that mean they're actually reading what they're approving? Or if they take 20 seconds, they're actually looking at it? So all these deep insights and analytics we're getting from this new control center platform which we've built. So real-time analytics on our PO process, which is important. Real-time analytics coming in next week on our logistics and inventory management. So we can see the inventory down in South Africa. We can see the inventory in the UK. In a week's time, we'll be able to see the inventory in Germany, and then Spain and Italy, and everything will come on board. Again, leveraging that digital capability going forward. And this system isn't just a big screen and a presentation tool. This is our standard way of running our function now. So a digital-first mindset. It's great we have PowerPoint here. When I do my reviews with my manager, Margarita, who's the CFO of the group, we don't use PowerPoint anymore. It is gone. We use the digital tools. We do real-time analysis. We sit down and look through our real-time scorecard on how we're performing. And I was with a colleague yesterday, and he said, but Ninian, how do you send out the pre-read for the meeting? I said, there's no pre-read. Margarita can log into the system at any time and have a look. And then dynamically, she can ask me questions as we go through the PD process or the monthly process. And it's the same with my direct reports. When we do our monthly reviews, we can use this tool. So again, no PowerPoint. It used to take us 28 days to collect our purchase order performance data. By the time we'd collected the data, we were starting to collect it again for the next month. Now it's collected every hour. We can see it, and we can improve those internal processes. So for us, that control center becomes the hub for our supply chain operations. And now we're adding alarming to that and AI capability. So for example, one of the things that's important for us and for you is that when we issue a PO, we want to link it to a contract. Currently, the user has to choose that contract to link it to. Going forward in the next month, we will get the system to say, last night there were 5 POs that weren't linked to a contract. We have automatically linked them. Are you okay with this? Yes, no. So really getting the AI capability and the machine learning working for the benefit of our internal users and our supplier partners. So that's a little bit about how we're digitizing. I can also tell you here today that 85% of all the contracts we sign in the Vodafone procurement are digital signatures. Now, I know DHL are here, so just a small apology to DHL. I'm so sorry that the 240,000 euros we used to spend with you sending the contracts around the world, that we're not doing that anymore. But you also benefit from this as well, because when we sign a contract with you, you get it quicker, we get it faster, and we don't lose them, which is really important for us going forward. So small things begin to change the mindset and digitize the company. But one of the key things I come back to, and it links a lot into Warwick's opening speech, how we think about this Arch event specifically, is that in a world of digitization, as human beings, we can feel a little bit relegated. And that's also true for small startup companies. It's tremendously difficult. It can be a lonely job if you're a founder, a creator of a startup, and you're trying to make your way. And part of the reason that we undertook the Arch event is to try and make that human-to-human connection, which we genuinely still believe is critically important when we're doing business. We can have all of the electronic metrics, all of the electronic contracting which you wish to have. But to see Camilla being excited about winning the Supplier of the Year and jumping up and down on the stage last night, really shows that the human connection and the human relationship is still critically important, both to us in the Vodafone Procurement Company and to our suppliers and to our customers. So as we digitize our business end to end and create fantastic digital journeys and digital experiences for our customers, we must never forget that people love doing people. Love doing people? Love doing business. Love doing business with people they like working with. And that's why in Vodafone we also set up our strategic relationship management program, where currently our top 10 vendors get real FaceTime with our executives every 90 days. And we talk through the performance, and we talk through the opportunities for new innovation and new capabilities which they can deliver for our customers. So with that, I'm going to start wrapping up on this short presentation. And I'd just like to leave you with a couple of thoughts. And those thoughts relate to 50 years ago, we're going to put a man on the moon. And now you're seeing another digital revolution that is tremendously exciting. But the key thought I want to leave you with, and I'd urge you not to forget this one, is be very careful about drinking with Detlef Schultz in the bar at 1 o'clock. But that, for me, is one of the most important relationships I have, and that's why I commit to that relationship, and I'd encourage you all, please commit to your relationships as you digitize. Thank you very much.